Domination, helping you dominate today. In today's really quick video, guys, I want to talk about my new relationship with the green. Cannabis has been a really big part of my life now for over 2 to 3 years, and obviously, guys, there's a lot of disclaimers I want to say before we get like balls deep into this video. But why should you listen to me? I've been cannabis free on and off for months, weeks, days. I've gone through withdrawals, I've gone through the ups and downs, and I've successfully maintained a relationship with cannabis during these past few weeks, which I'm very proud of. Compare that to my previous addiction to cannabis, where I had absolutely, or at least it felt like I had absolutely no control whatsoever on my relationship with the plant, and how I actually lack discipline, and how discipline is actually going to be the solution for you guys. Let's get right into it. So guys, I've been smoking cannabis on and off now for like 2 to 3 years. I enjoy the plant. It obviously has a shit ton of benefits. I won't really be defending weed in this video. I'm not against weed, and I actually think weed is a really useful plant. Now, with that being said, this is not an excuse to smoke and actually wake and bake. A wake and bake under no circumstances is acceptable. You're basically saying to yourself, let me wake up and go get a buzz. Let me wake up, go get a buzz, and then start being productive. That's not a way of life, guys. You should be productive and then use weed as a kind of like way to reward yourself. At least this is what's working for me. Each time I use weed as a sort of positive reinforcement, it makes me way more productive in my life. And each time I get the craving to smoke weed, I no longer associate it with, I must go smoke weed for this craving to pass. When I now get a craving to smoke weed, I internalize it as, I still got some work to do. Once that work is done, I may give myself the permission to go smoke weed. Let me give you guys an example how this can be a tricky kind of relationship if you're not aware. Now guys, let me show you my habit tracker. So basically this is as most as my habit tracker has already been filled. My negotiation with myself is if I do every single habit, including working out, which is one of the biggest ones I want to stay consistent with, protein shake, and you see I missed it 2 days in a row, all this type of stuff, guys. Once I complete every single thing off of my habit tracker, I'm allowed to smoke. And guys, you might see this as depressing. I see this as motivating, because yes, guys, I won't lie to you. It would be really nice to just smoke when I want and to not have this discipline behind it. But in the past, I know that I wasn't able to maintain a healthy relationship with cannabis when I smoked when I wanted to. So this is my new way of thinking. This is my new way of being. My non-negotiable for today, before I even think about smoking cannabis, is working out. I want to put on some muscle, and I no longer give myself the permission to wake and bake. Wake and bake, I want to say that it really, you know, put my progress in a downward trajectory. I was gonna say wake and baking was holding me back, but no, it's not. It's not the fact that I was smoking weed right when I woke up. It was the fact that I had no discipline behind it. Let's say you go smoke weed and then you go work out. It can be somewhat productive, but in my brain, at least for my personal experience, it never worked out like that. I go smoke, and all of my inhibitions for the day kind of like just settled down. I had all these big goals before I went to sleep the night before, and when I woke up, they all came crashing down because I didn't feel like it. I was a bit sore. I don't know, I woke up a bit late. All these fucking boring excuses, guys, limiting myself for not achieving my goals. This was bullshit. When I actually got down to see that weed was not the problem, and it was really my relationship with weed and my relationship with myself, I had no self-love, no respect for myself, and I didn't have my non-negotiables. So now I have some non-negotiables. Like I said, if I don't work out, why would I smoke weed? It's going against my goals. It's directly holding me back. Now let's say I work out, I go smoke a bit of weed, I eat more. This is going directly towards my goals, guys. And even then, there would be arguments to say that it's actually slowing me down a bit. But I accept it. It's better to accept and grow than to be in denial and not see the addiction for what it is. When I got my wisdom teeth removed, it's now been a bit more than a week. I had to, you know, not consume cannabis for a week, and it taught me a lot about myself, but mostly a lot about the plant and how the plant is not the problem. It was myself my relationship with cannabis was basically, let me smoke each time I feel something I don't want to feel. Boredom, anxiety, depression, all these feelings, anger. Let me just go smoke. Puts me back to baseline. Let's get back to work. My intentions were kind of good. I wanted to just keep working. But there's better ways of dealing with the anxiety, depression, and stress for it not to only be solvable, sorry for my English, by weed. There's other ways to solve these things. And this is what I'm learning. I'm so excited, as you can see by my expression and my energy, to bring you guys this video. Obviously, guys, I won't lie. It's not the same like prideful feeling of saying I'm this many days without cannabis or whatever. I enjoy the cannabis plant, so I would be lying to myself to say that I never want to smoke cannabis again. And this is not an excuse for you guys to just smoke when you want. If you can hold one thing from this video is, you know, try a few days without cannabis at least. Try it. You'll see how addicted you are. I cried. Each time I quit cannabis, almost each time, guys, I cried. You're losing a part of yourself, and it's not really like, oh, I'll never smoke again. Yes, this is a scary thought, obviously, especially when you're addicted to weed. But it's not really the thought of, oh, I'm not going to be able to smoke anymore. You're never going to be able to smoke how you smoked before. You're never going to be able to have that same relationship with cannabis, which was so appealing and alluring before. So let's say before you woke and boke. You woke and boke. Let's say before you wake and bake. You smoke before going in the shower. You smoke before taking, you know, some sort of food. You smoke before going to work. You smoke after work. You're going to lose all these rituals and habits, so you're going to have to find another way to fill up that time, and also especially to navigate those feelings that are going to come up. Because yes, you might be withdrawing, but eventually you'll just be bored. You'll get some anxiety. You'll get some depression. And it's not going to be weed directly correlated. It's just your body and your mind and your spirit saying, hey, we're maybe not where we want to be in life. Let's kick into gear. But you're always suppressing that with weed. My question is why? When you find out why you're always suppressing it with weed, you'll find out that you're directly correlated to your own failure and your own success. This is extremely empowering if you let it be that way, or it can be extremely depressing depending on how you navigate your relationship with cannabis. If you decide to take action right now, you can still smoke some weed, man, but not right now. Give yourself 2 to 3 days. I would suggest a week. I know most of you won't be able to, and that's okay. But I know some of you will be able to. Go a week, you'll really see how addicted you are. And when you maybe start to re-indulge in cannabis, have some boundaries, have some non-negotiables for yourself. And from there, I think your relationship with cannabis, and for that matter, any other drug, is going to be so much healthier. And you're going to have so much self-love and self-respect for yourself, something you never had in the past. I hope you find this video somewhat helpful and it shines some light on your weed addiction. You have the power to regain control anytime you want. Guys, a final disclaimer and a final thing I want to say before we end off this video. I'm not necessarily, well, I wouldn't like to categorize myself as this because there's a lot of stigma behind it, but I'm not really religious. I don't necessarily read the Bible that often, but I do believe in a God. Not necessarily a God with a beard looking down on us, but I do believe in like some sort of energy that created all of this. I believe in something more powerful than myself. This gave me a lot of help and a lot of force, even a lot of wisdom to be able to let my cannabis addiction go and take control back of my life. And I can confidently say God has helped me all the way through. If it weren't for God, I wouldn't be making this video right now. So thank you, God, for giving me the power to finally overcome my cannabis addiction. If you guys found this video somewhat helpful, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you're new. This was Dom, helping you dominate today.